What do you make of this late summer surge by the Democrats here? I'm surprised that they took this opportunity to strike. I would have thought that they were scrambling to go to the lake house. But it seems like they understood that there needed to be some wins, however piecemeal, for everybody's own skin in the fall.
Yeah, it's hard to say just what happened. I mean, I'll have to admit that I was totally wrong about this. I thought that once they got the bipartisan infrastructure thing through, that was toast for Build Back Better or anything like it. That turned out to be not true at all, even though, Manchin did cut, relative to the original thing that was passed by the House at 3.5 trillion, they've cut that by about 90%. There's almost no welfare stuff at all in there. Nevertheless, the climate stuff is quite almost the whole thing. That's like basically all that's left, but it's almost all of it, even though Manchin got, a bunch of stuff for fossil fuels in West Virginia. I think, it was just like a bunch of things came together. Apparently Schumer and Manchin sort of had a decent working relationship, and Manchin's a very mercurial guy, but I think you can tell. I haven't seen any polls yet showing like a big surge in support for Biden, but like it feels good to like accomplish stuff, and they have just been knocking him out of the park over the last couple of weeks, and I think it's like it's sort of thing where momentum tends to build on itself a little bit. And, I saw some political reporters saying that, their sources in Congress and the White House have been mentioning dark Brandon memes as a possible reason.
No.
No, not kidding. Benji Starlin from MSNBC, who's a very well-sourced guy, was saying that this had something to do with it. And honestly, it's as good an explanation as any,
Hey, Jack, I'm cool on the internet, right? Got to do more of this.
Yeah, I mean, it inspires some elan, some confidence. They are some very funny memes. I will give them that. So, could be.
That is really bizarre. And it is interesting, like, what these Democrats respond to, honestly. And I want to talk about Schumer a bit, because I feel like people are underselling how his motivation to pass chips, like, really put a poker under his butt individually, because he's been on this China competitive semiconductor bill beat for years. This has been a pet project of his. And so I think it's instructive, like, if you get these senators to feel like there's actually a direct connection with what they pass and get them emotionally invested in it, and oftentimes that has to do with their own electoral careers, but that's harder to do in the Senate. But for Schumer, he seemed to really be motivated to get this through, and that, I think, boded well for, obviously, the Inflation Reduction Act and the shadow of Build Back Better that's likely to pass now. I mean, what's your opinion on why he kind of was so bullish on it, and how that affected these past few weeks legislatively in the Senate?
Yeah, so on the CHIPS bill, it is more or less a great big handout to the semiconductor industry. I would say it's better. It's better than nothing. It could have been made a lot better with more union protections and stuff like that. But honestly, the last couple of weeks has sort of demonstrated why Schumer has been so obsessed with this for so long. Not only during the pandemic did we see like the problem of having like all semiconductor manufacturing being concentrated in like two companies, with the shortages that have driven up the price of cars and so much else. Everything's got chips in it now. Now that Pelosi is, for some reason, inflaming tensions with China in over Taiwan, which has the largest semiconductor company in the world, TSMC. It's actually kind of you see why you would want some domestic capacity to make this stuff. But the remarkable thing about passing chips was that this is a bipartisan bill. You know, the Republicans want it too. It's like jobs and pork, basically, for them. McConnell said, Mitch McConnell, that if Democrats even talk about doing a Reconstruction bill, anything that's coming out of, Build Back Better, then he's going to tank the chips bill. And so, when Joe Manchin, sorry, my cat is.
Yeah, it's okay. Your cat always makes an appearance every time you're on, and it's welcome.
Yeah, animals, they'll sit and sleep all day long until you start talking on a video interview, and then they jump in. But so to get back to the story, Manchin announced, we all remember that, it's like, Build Back Better's done, I'm not voting for any tax increases, blah, blah, blah. And so McConnell let his guard down. He let chips through. Hours later, Manchin and Schumer just stabbed him right in the, I mean, they didn't agree to anything, but they tricked him. It was a total bait and switch. And it's like, oh my God, Chuck Schumer is doing this Machiavellian maneuvering. And apparently it seems to have worked. They've got Manchin on board. Now they have Sinema on board. This weekend, apparently they're going to vote through Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah.
And, have a nice package of stuff for the midterms.
Well, so, I mean, they got one over on Mitch McConnell. Honestly, it feels like I'm having some sort of CBD-infused dream. No, joking. That's for our sponsor. But, I mean, this is really okay, so maybe it's the second time he's got in the last 2 years, right? I mean, the second COVID relief package, he had no real footing as a way to oppose that. And now with this, he was furious, I guess, not reportedly, but it seemed that way given how the other Republican senators responded. I can't even believe that the Democrats were able to pull something like this off given their track record.
I mean, I think it's sometimes it's easy to overestimate the cunning of the opposition, but it's inarguable that Democrats have been just absolutely helpless, compared to McConnell over the last decade. The other thing to mention about this is the Pact Act, which is the Veterans Healthcare Bill, another bipartisan thing. Everyone loves the troops. And this one is about specifically like veterans who got chronic conditions, cancer and whatnot from burn pits in Afghanistan and Iraq, and also Agent Orange exposures in Vietnam. And when, McConnell got so mad about, getting had basically on the CHIPS bill, the Republicans were going to block the Veterans Healthcare Bill. They're going to take that hostage. They're just going to block it out of spite. And that gave them like a solid 3 or 4 days of just devastating media coverage. Even in like Fox News, Jon Stewart was on Newsmax getting respectful interviews about how like this is a totally necessary thing. And these Republican scumbags are just, they don't support the troops. I mean, it's like the third rail of politics. And so not only did they vote against the troops, but then they were forced into a humiliating about face and then voted the bill through. So now Democrats get to have their cake and eat it too. It's like this guy voted against the troops and we still have the bill that we were trying to pass. Like, I mean, that one, as far as cunning, that was just completely stupid on the part of Republicans. I think it tends to show you that they've gotten overconfident in their ability to just sort of do whatever they want without, even thinking about it.